He's a demon king. How not to look at this situation? He should be an exceptionally bloodthirsty being who mercilessly exterminates humans. Somehow, this bloodthirsty creature, like most humans, had become a pathetic corporate slave. Such thoughts crept into the Demon King's head as he held his purchases from the store in his hands and stood on the bridge, looking out over the city and the cars passing by. It had all started from that very moment. He had been chosen to get the Devil System. The system appeared congratulating him for activating the special abilities of the demon race. The system asked him if he was ready to step on the dark path, and he said he was. Since then, no monster could oppose him and destroy him. With the support of the system, that is, with cheats, he climbed higher and higher, climbing to the very top of the hierarchy. All this hard and tedious journey continued until the day came. This day, the day he ascended to the coveted throne of the Demon Lord. Demonesses could not take their eyes off his beauty and power, aka Demon Lord. Gathering his army, he finally decided to go to a place he had not yet conquered. He decided to open a gate, and that would lead him and his men into the world of men. All overflowing with pathos and intoxicated with his power, he asks that people tremble and weep. The Demon King appeared like a nightmare to these people who did not expect such an arrival and were shocked when the Demon King in an instant destroyed high-rise buildings with his fire and everything around was in flames. People did not even understand what was happening, and of the already caught up with death, the fire was everywhere, nowhere to hide from it. The Demon Lord's minions flew on dragons and shouted excited slogans about enslaving humanity and reviving the demon race. The Demon Lord, while in the air, only watched the humans' pathetic attempts to escape. He possessed a special ability, the Dark Abyss. Some people were even able to recognize what was happening, namely that the demons had invaded, and those who recognized it screamed as they ran away. The Demon Lord was too smug. He ordered a bunch of pathetic humans to submit to the Demon King. That dying personally at the hands of the Demon King should be considered an honor for these people. However, the Demon King was interrupted. Some silent girl appeared. The girl was dressed in a classic suit with a tie. The girl's name was Xing Ling. Her class, Red Corps, Warrior. Rank, SSS. Seeing this girl, the Demon King only sneers at her. Is she really the trump card of humanity that can stop him? In a mocking manner, he orders the girl to dissolve into his dark abyss and attacks Xing Ling. A purple flame rushed straight towards her. From this flame, a frightening face with red eyes and a mouth with many teeth appeared. The girl didn't make a sound and used her ability, Atomic Fission, thus shattering the attack. Xing Ling then moved lightning fast to the Demon King and struck at him using her special ability. This attack split the Demon Lord in half. That day, the Demon Lord fell at the hand of his nemesis. At the same instant, the Demon Lord was struck by lightning. As it turned out, he was sitting on the throne at that moment. His subordinate demoness even worried whether her lord was all right. The Demon King replied that he was fine. He was just deep in thought, worrying about the future of the demons. He asked to be left alone as he makes to be alone. The girls follow the order and leave, and asked that His Majesty not overwork himself. Once the submission left the room, the Demon King showed his true feelings. That girl seemed incredibly strong to him, as she only needed one misstep from the Demon King to shatter him. It seems there was someone so strong in the ranks of humanity, he didn't even realize it. Nevertheless, he convinces himself that this time he was just not careful. But next time he will be alert, so everything will be fine. He recalls the path he has traveled so far and how he achieved the highest position among demons by relying on continuous rebirths, during which he made adjustments to his actions. He recalls that his main cheat is unlimited rebirths. The rebirth system informs him that it has rewound his life back 2 years, so he must continue his journey with greater perseverance. The guy finally perks up again and is filled with optimism. After all, with his system, he is absolutely invincible. The rebirth system is activated. It asks if he wants to be reborn 2 years back, and the guy agrees. He will have to go all the way back again, but thanks to this system, which is a cheat, no matter what difficulties he experienced, no matter what mistakes he made, he could always go back and fix the situation, no matter how strong the enemy would be in his path. Walking out to his warriors, he demands to listen to his orders. He orders the army to split up and attack from 2 directions, as they need to disorient the enemy at all costs. After several defeats, thanks to his system, he could always find his opponent's weakness and then end the entire battle in one blow. Finally, after grabbing many of his supporters, he invaded the human world and attacked Xing Ling. The girl didn't hesitate for a second and immediately pulled out her blade from its sheath. The Demon Lord was once again proud of himself, because the girl, in his opinion, clearly did not expect such a sudden attack. However, contrary to his expectations, the girl dealt with all the hordes of demons, including the Demon Lord himself, making a mountain of bodies. The rebirth system asks him again if he wishes to be reborn, having returned to the world 2 years ago. The guy has absolutely no idea what happened here. He worked on his strategy properly. Then why did he lose again? So the problem is something else he couldn't fix, so he agrees to be reborn again. During his third rebirth, he stepped up his squad training. He even drew an image of the specific enemy his warriors were training on. In order to conquer people, it is necessary from understand. So he makes his warriors train hard, however, and the third attempt of the Demon King and his warriors were easily defeated by Xing Ling. The guy thinks that it won't be like that. This time he was definitely let down by his equipment. In his fourth rebirth, he further increased the army's fighting ability. It was all for the sake of the demons' rebirth, so the demons must not lose a second. Their stronghold must be indestructible. This time, Xing Ling found helpers, and the greatest Demon King fled in disgrace and was reborn again. During his fifth rebirth, he focused on not being strong enough. That was the problem. So to strengthen himself, he squatted with a huge stone. When he arrived in the human world, Xing Ling once again easily defeated him, the Demon King. He decided that he would definitely get his way. His sixth attempt followed, in which he was again defeated by his nemesis, Xing Ling. Then there was his seventh attempt, where he carefully took notes and improved his knowledge. After that, there was also his eighth attempt, where he improved his skills more and more. Then there was the ninth attempt, where he made an elaborate plan and told it to his subordinates. Where did his long-awaited victory go? Then there was the 100th rebirth. Soon there was already the 180th rebirth. So long, already reached the 240th rebirth. After all that, it was hard to keep his sanity, and the guy didn't do it solo. Having been reborn once again, all he could think about was how did he die this time. The 570th rebirth had already come. The subordinate once again came to inquire and talk about the attack on people, but he did not find the master on the throne. The demon subordinate even wonders where the king might have gone. Meanwhile, the Demon King went somewhere, taking with him a backpack and a sword. After all, he is a villain. He had a brilliant plan in mind. As long as his magic stone exists, he will survive anyway, so he decides to exhaust the girl, leave the demonic lair, change places in anticipation of a triumphant return. If he can hide for a few decades, However, his thoughts are interrupted by the shadow of a man appearing behind him. Of course, it turns out to be Xing Ling. The Demon Lord does not understand how the girl found this place. After all, he even left the demon lair. It took him 2 whole years to plan everything, then why did it fail again? It turns out that no matter what the circumstances, the girl will still appear on his soul. Does the girl really want him dead so badly? Xing Ling replies in the affirmative. Once again defeated and miserable, the Demon King only thinks that the girl really plans to destroy the entire demon race. It turns out that as long as he is the Demon King, this girl will never leave him alone. The 599th rebirth has come. They invaded the human world again, and as usual, he lost. In his opinion, the conflict between humans and demons remains unchanged, which means the war will never end. Although he had lived several thousand years considering his rebirths, it had only been 2 years for the girl and the others. He sat on his throne and pondered over it all after his next defeat. No matter how hard he tried, it was all for nothing. So maybe he should admit his defeat openly already. No wonder 599 defeats. This Demon King could definitely be called stubborn. Many would have already given up no matter how much they boasted otherwise. As he watches the wench once again smash his army, he decides that no matter what his thoughts are, he will not allow just him alone to disgracefully walk off the stage. So he decides that even if he dies, he will take his nemesis with him. He decides to use his absolute ability. He takes out his huge blade and then stabs himself in the chest and shatters his crystal. Xing Ling is too surprised by what is happening. For all his suffering, the guy taunts the girl because the girl has probably never met the Demon King, who is ready to blow up his lair. A huge glowing pillar of energy erupts from the Demon King's chest. One of Xing Ling's squad asks to stop the Demon King, as the energy released from the Demon King's magic crystal is comparable to an atomic bomb. This explosion will destroy many thousands of demon nests, but at this very moment, quite a few people are running errands there. The Demon King is only mocking the humans. After all, his dark power will defile both the cities in the vicinity of the nests and all the people in the demon nests, including the hated Xing Ling. The Demon King laughs and gloats, for here he and Xing Ling will find a common death. However, the girl jumps on the Demon King and uses her blade to destroy the crystal. Almost all the energy is extinguished instantly. The humans rejoice that everything has stopped and there will be no explosion. Over 1,000 years, 600 deaths, battles with no chance of victory, failed attempts to escape. He, the great Demon King, couldn't even achieve mutual annihilation. Laying on the ground as a loser, he only thinks about how tired he is. He always thought that he was the protagonist who was favored by the system. No matter what mistakes he made, he could always go back and make things right. However, watching Xing Ling, he ponders that perhaps he was not originally the protagonist. Then he doesn't understand what his endeavors were for. What was the point of it at all? And when the revival system reappears, he declines its offer to return to the world 2 years back. The rebirth system informs him that confirming his refusal to be reborn will cause the system to lock up. Anyway, that doesn't stop the demon, and he says goodbye to this system and this world forever. People examine the body of the defeated king of demons, and he only thinks about the fact that the system no longer hopes to twist it as desired. The humans laugh and celebrate their victory as they stand by his defeated body. Closing his eyes for the last time, the Demon King is only happy that he will never see his nemesis again. Sometime after he closed his eyes, he doesn't realize if he isn't dead and why he is still conscious. He wonders where the smell of burning came from and then abruptly jumps up. There were flames everywhere. Everything around him was ablaze with fire. He doesn't realize what this place is or why he was here. But then a girl runs up to him and calls him brother. The girl even has tears in her eyes. She is glad that her brother is alive. However, the Demon King notices a mole under his eye and that the girl looks too familiar. Unable to restrain himself, he already goes to scream, because why the girl again appeared in front of him. The girl does not listen to her brother's nonsense. She runs up and hugs him, because she is glad that her brother is alive. The girl's eyes are full of tears. She knew that her brother would not leave her. In her eyes, the boy can finally see his reflection, and how he looks now. He is too surprised by this turn of events, and has so many questions in his mind. Who the hell is this brother? Why is she calling him brother? Has he really taken over the body of the older brother of his hated enemy? The girl only looked at the guy with a pitying look, because he is her older brother and he is alive. The girl probably doesn't know what awaits her for all these endless years of tormenting the Demon King, but the Demon King doesn't know what surprises Xing Ling has in store for him. He is known as Xielong, the supreme commander of the untold demon army, the great Demon King born in the abyss, guardian of the greatest magic crystal, human destroyer, owner of the rebirth system, the strongest enemy of mankind, nicknamed the Devil Dragon. At this moment, he was reborn in the body of a human. Moreover, it wasn't just a human, it was the older brother of the most hated person to him, Xing Ling. Sister was very happy that her brother was not dead and had actually come to his senses. Tears did not stop pouring from the girl's eyes. Suddenly, the brother felt that there was a strange smell in the air, and he asked his sister if she felt the same thing. The sister fearfully pointed her finger at her brother and informed him that he was on fire. The guy's butt, as if from the anger emanating from him, suddenly caught fire. The brother is shocked because the flames have started to spread, and he tries to find water. But at that moment, the sister informs her brother that there is no water in the neighborhood. The brother tells his sister to put out the flames with her clothes, and she agrees, frightened. However, this does not help in any way, and the girl's clothes also catch fire from the flames. Then the guy tells the girl to come up with another plan. In an instant, his sister informs him that she has come up with a plan, and all his brother has to do is lie down on the ground to do it. He quickly laid down on the ground, but was frightened and suspicious as to what his sister was up to. His fears were not unfounded, as his sister began kicking his butt to put out the flames. The poor former demon lord lay humiliated and with his pants burned. He couldn't believe how weak human bodies were. Xing Ling at this moment knelt down and crouched on the ground. She started crying and complaining that she was completely useless. This finally pissed the guy off. He jumped up abruptly, which surprised the girl. She immediately informed her brother that she was no longer crying. Looking at the girl, the demon lord was surprised that in his younger years, the head of the Order of Shadow Knights was such a weak chicken. He even thought that perhaps all of this was perhaps indicative of the fact that Xingling was currently defenseless against him, approaching his new sister with a frightening aura. He thought that if he just attacked, he would have no problem finally blowing off the head of his main enemy. He had already gathered all his strength in his fist and swung, happy that this was about to happen. But to his disappointment, a shield materialized around the girl. The system reported a warning, and that the guy's actions violated the principle of mutual non-harm. Therefore, the system activated the peace treaty. The demon lord could do absolutely nothing. So pathetic he looked. The system said that the peace treaty was activated, so the damage was cancelled. The system reported that Xingling had entered into a mutual non-harm agreement with Xingling, eliminating the use of techniques that could harm the other party. The system also found that the awakened one was not completely dead. After that, the system started diagnostics and asked to wait for a while. The sister asked if her brother was all right, but the demon lord himself was furious. He was ready to finish his hated enemy, and it turned out that there was some kind of peace treaty. After that, the guy fell to the ground. The frightened sister ran up to her brother to inquire about his condition. Xingling is worried about her brother. She pulls her brother up to a tree. The girl knows that her brother is not used to being injured yet, so she asks her brother to rest for a while. She even asks her brother if he's still in pain. She wonders how his burn is doing and if his brother is better. After a while, Xingling came back and said that she had brought some bottles of water for her brother to wash his face. She wondered if her brother was hungry. She called him brother relentlessly and was very annoying. The demon lord was already completely fed up with her, and if it wasn't for the system, he would have long ago shut Xingling's mouth for the rest of his life. After not receiving a reply, the girl was sure that her brother was hungry, so she went in search of food. The demon lord, on the other hand, looked at the system window. The system has detected an awakened person. The guy's name is Xing Yi. He is 20 years old. Class, Blue Lightning Battle Mage. The system also noted that the system level was too low, so it was impossible to further detect the new body. The demon lord immediately noticed that the awakened human system appeared to be more comprehensive compared to the demonic system. Above the guy's head, the message about the peace treaty was still hanging. This pissed the guy off. The demon lord thought it was a stupid rule. He didn't understand, since when an older brother could be unable to teach his sister a lesson. While Xingling was examining his bag, the demon lord conceived a nefarious plan. Since he didn't have the opportunity to attack his sister directly, it was necessary to cause an accident to finally end her. Meanwhile, the sister took out a tin can from her bag. She offered her brother to eat what she found. Niu Xing asked to get this dirt away from him. He had absolutely no idea what kind of food his sister had just handed him. He didn't understand what was happening to him. However, looking at the tin can and the sandwich, the name of it he didn't know yet, he thought this food was delicious. His hand reached for the food. He resisted as best he could, but it seems that human instincts were kicking in and his body was reaching for the food on its own. His sister points out that her brother doesn't eat this kind of food, but to regain his strength, he should eat it. Xing Yi asked his sister to shut up. After all, he doesn't want to eat it. But contrary to his words, he snatched the food from his sister's hands and took a bite of the sandwich. Looking at his brother's back, Xingling wondered if it was good for him. Almost crying at how wonderful the food was, his brother struggled to squeeze out the words that it wasn't good for him. He remembered the disgusting food he had eaten as a demon and compared it to human food. Kneeling down, he complained about life. He pointed out that humans were too content with life, and that if people continued to do so, they would only degenerate. He continued to convince himself that only the food of demons hardens the will. After that, the demon lord decided to drink from the tin can. He even choked, and his sister immediately ran up to him and asked if he was all right. The food seemed too spicy for him. The demon lord turned out to be a pathetic weakling with no willpower. He immediately began to enjoy the water from the tin can. This bubbling liquid was too sweet for him, and he kept convincing himself and his sister that it was impossible to drink. But even if he didn't like it, he would definitely drink it, just to restore his sugar level. Meanwhile, he greedily gulped down the new-to-him liquid from the jar. In one go, he drank the entire jar. In her thoughts, Xingling notices that her brother is so insincere, but he is cute. The girl recalls her brother complaining that although the eggs were a little burnt and the vegetables were slightly fermented, the dish was extremely hearty. Her sister was delighted, for although her brother wouldn't admit it, he actually liked her food. At least she thought so. Lowering the tin can to the ground, the demon lord continues to complain that his human body has completely taken over his will. He thinks this is incredibly despicable and reiterates that he hates humans. The system has reported that his sugar levels, blood pressure, and other vitals have begun to return to normal, and that the system functions have been completed. Skill 1, Paralyzing Barrier. Skill 2, Lighting Shock. Skill 3, Unstable Electric Ball. Skill 4, Not Yet Detected, and the system has asked to manually detect it. Skill 5, Not Yet Detected, and the system asked for it to be manually detected. Looking at the system, the demon lord thought about his new situation, and in his opinion, his body had come back to life after being reborn. He needed a little time to completely figure it out. Because of his arrogance, he wasn't aware of how humans worked things out. Even his sister was surprised by his brother's musings. Xing Ling asked her brother if he was looking at the awakened system right now. She wished that she could have one as well. This really surprised the demon lord. Could it be that his sister still hadn't awakened yet? Xing Ling thought that her brother must have forgotten, but he was the one who was the most talented prelate in all of Yunqing, who easily defeated demons, and she was merely considered a foolish little sister or a burden. A prelate is a person who holds a high position in a religious structure. Everyone around her told her sister that demons had captured and destroyed her brother. No matter how much she begged, no one was willing to listen to her. She had no choice but to send out on her own to find her brother. She was no good at anything, so she could only run away in the hope of finding her brother. One day, she noticed a monstrously bright aura, as if someone had descended from the sky. Little flying demons grabbed someone by the leg and lifted them into the air. While the girl was hiding behind a rock and observing the situation, some demons were affected by this aura. They started yelling that they couldn't eat this person, as there was a terribly terrifying aura emanating from him. At this very moment, Xing Ling noticed that this person was her brother. She did not hesitate to rush towards the monstrous aura where her brother's fall was. After her brother fell, she immediately ran over to him and began to examine him, asking her brother not to die. The whole time she was screaming that her brother shouldn't die like that because he was so cool. She called herself a fool because it was all because of her. However, this story and his sister's whining pissed off the demon lord, and he told her to stop whining. He notices that his sister can only cry. He doesn't understand where that cold-blooded woman has gone. The demon lord asks Xing Ling to tell him what most talented prelate in all of Yunqing means. He has just recently woken up, and his mind is still a mess, so he asks for clarification from his sister regarding this. Does all of this really mean that he's pretty cool? The sister proudly informs him that it does. After all, her brother is recognized by one and all as the most promising prelate. Despite his lack of noble origins, her brother has the most outstanding strength among the royal order of knights. Those high-born upstarts are not even worth her brother's finger. Even the king, admiring the guy's talent, exceptionally appointed him as a squad leader. These words greatly surprised the guy. Xing Ling even started singing songs praising her brother. After all, he is the youngest squad leader in history. He is a true genius. He is her favorite brother. The demon lord was surprised that Xing Ling was talking about him like that. He clenched his fists and smiled. It looked like the heavens really did favor him. As a demon king, he was doomed to face his nemesis forever. He couldn't imagine that after his defeat, the system would give him another chance, but this time in human form. As he remembered, almost all the heroes of human stories start out as losers and gradually rise higher and higher until they reach the pinnacle of life. An ingenious plan matured in his mind. Since he had failed to become the strongest demon king, it was time to become the strongest human. He even laughed, calling himself truly a protagonist from birth. Here, even his sister couldn't help but notice the strangeness in her brother and asked him what it was with him. In her thoughts, she noted that after her brother woke up, then he was acting a little differently. The demon lord turned to his newfound sister and looked at her with a smirk. For first and foremost, before she gained her power, he had to eliminate her, the main obstacle in his two lives. And so began a plan to take down a nemesis or little sister. He grabbed his head and theatrically announced that he was feeling ill. The sister was once again worried about her brother. The demon lord reported that he suddenly remembered that he had left something in the demon lair. He inquired if the sister remembered where she had found it. His sister remembered everything and immediately pointed out the location. Just like that, they slowly headed out to look for it. Xingling continued to solicitously inquire from her brother what he needed and that she would help with the search. Smirking so that his sister would not notice it, in the back of his mind he informs that he, of course, wants to find a demon to help him get rid of his nemesis or his little sister. Well, ladies and gentlemen, place your bets. How humiliated will the demon lord be next time? Not far from the brother and sister were bandits. One of the men complained that they had worked for half a day and gotten too little. The other man did not complain much, for he had gotten a taste of a woman. Suddenly the men noticed a brother and sister walking by. The bastard liked the sister and was already happy that today they were in for a big payday. The man offers to work as they usually did. To start, they would lure their victims into a cave. The women they would take and sell, and the men they would kill. His accomplice suggests that before selling the girl, they have some fun with her. The sister finally brings her brother to the place where she found him. The guy notices that there was just an insignificant nest of D-rank demons there that wasn't even worthy of his attention. But he still decides to rely on a pack of low-level demons to eliminate his enemy. Xingling is puzzled. She even wonders if they should go there. However, her brother assures her sister that they need to go to that place because he left something important there. At that moment, the robbers approached the brother and sister. They decided to pretend to be adventurers who got into a difficult situation and asked for help. The men said that their squad was ambushed by demons, but they barely managed to get out. However, their two comrades remained in that place. The man even starts crying. He begs his brother and sister for help, and even claims that he promised the mother of the man who stayed there. Xingling let out a sad sigh. She feels that this is quite a sad story. She wonders to her brother if they can help these people. Xing Yi thinks it's an unnecessary problem, and he didn't want his plan to eliminate his sister to fail. So the brother tells his sister to tell the men to get lost. The sister is shocked, for her brother has never been such a cold and unfeeling person. He insists that the sister do as he says, so they don't have time to be good-natured. With great reluctance, the sister agrees with her brother. In her heart of hearts, she finds it incredibly hard to refuse to help people. Seeing the girl walking in their direction, the man was glad that the brother and sister had fallen for the trick. However, at that moment, he saw what a frightening aura was emanating from the girl. Xingling informs the men that they have their own business to attend to, so she tells the men to leave. After that, the girl turns around and heads towards her brother. The man is shocked by this behavior. He could understand the refusal to help, but he didn't expect the girl to do it so indifferently. Xingling does not understand what she is saying. There was no way she could control her facial expression when meeting strangers. She couldn't help but think about her act. She wondered if her manner of speech was too harsh when she asked the men to leave. The girl was too kind and didn't want to hurt other people with her words. A man approached the girl and asked her to wait. However, she turned to him with a rather intimidating face and asked him what else he wanted from her. The man was so frightened that he even fell to the ground. He immediately gave up all his earlier thoughts and asked the girl to ignore him. The man was so scared because the girl seemed incredibly creepy to him, so he decided not to mess with her. Xingling approached her brother and informed him that she had told the men everything and they could go. The accomplice wondered why the man was scared of some little girl, but the man refused to admit to being a wimp. He reminded the accomplice that the girl had an incredibly intimidating look. The other man wonders if maybe they figured out their ruse and that's why they acted like that. The man denies this because if the creepy girl had realized what they were up to, she would have attacked without any conversation. After weighing the pros and cons, the man noticed that the brother and sister had entered the nest. So they decided to covertly follow the brother and sister and find out who they were, and after that come up with a plan on how to proceed. As soon as they enter the cave, the girl lights the lantern. She asks her brother to be careful. The demon nests are a labyrinthine maze of darkness. Meanwhile, the small one-eyed demons are looking more and more like bats. The demons immediately sense the frightening aura and odor of the highborn demon. Because of this, they felt animal fear. The guy immediately noticed all those weak F-rank demons right away, and he could hear everything they were saying. As soon as her brother only threw a stone at the low-ranked demons, they were immediately frightened and wanted to run away, for the great demon had attacked them. The sister doesn't understand what her brother is up to, and she gets scared. The low-ranking demons pounced on his sister. The guy is ecstatic, as this is exactly what he wanted. He figured that given his sister's level, even this pack of low-ranked demons would be enough to deal with his sister a few hundred times. Xingling notices the sly smile coming from her brother, and only now notices that her brother is using all these little demons. When one of the one-eyed demons decided to attack the girl gave a powerful blow to the demon with her left hand. The monster lost a fifth of its health from this attack, which puzzled the girl. She excitedly tells her brother how she was able to attack the demon, which makes her brother very angry. Sitting down on a rock, the brother doesn't understand what his sister is excited about, since it's only an F-rank demon. Only now does her sister realize that her brother didn't leave any belongings in this strange place. She notices with a smile that her brother chose such a low-ranked demon nest for a reason too. Her brother had once informed her that he would not be able to always stay around. In the current world, danger awaited at every turn. At that moment, the brother revealed that in the future, when he had the opportunity, he would take care of his sister's training. He believed that his sister needed to become stronger, even much stronger than he was. Just like that, the sister came up with completely different thoughts than what her brother was thinking. As she thought that her training had finally begun, she rushed straight towards the low-ranking demons and started waving her arms around, trying to attack all the demons she could reach. She vowed that she would not disappoint her brother and would definitely try to accomplish the task at hand. The guy was a little disappointed, though he had already originally thought that such low-rank demons were not suitable for his scheme. The guy decided that since they couldn't kill his sister that way, they should go deeper into the nest and find someone stronger. At this time, the marauders were watching the brother and sister from their hiding place. The man was greatly surprised and angry that the girl was originally a mediocre warrior. He thought the girl was an experienced warrior, and it turned out that she even needed a few hits to finish off such low-level demons. Looking at the demon king, who was picking his nose, the men thought he was even weaker, as he refused to even fight such low-ranked demons because he was afraid. Realizing that they were in no danger, the marauders decided to act without delay. The man proposes to do to the brother and sister just like the last couple. They were going to kill the brother and sell the sister to the red light district. The men happily rushed towards the brother and sister, already anticipating how much money they would get after this case. Xing Yi immediately spotted the looters. They had activated a special ability, the electric fetters. With this ability, they were able to restrain the brother and sister's movements. Xingling immediately wonders what is going on. She notices the men and reacts indignantly that the men have reappeared in front of her. The man with the shaved head complains that the girl has a frightening expression on her face again, that he almost got scared again. He tells her that he already knows that the brother and sister are mediocre warriors. So the only surprise was that his brother and sister turned out to be cold-blooded and didn't fall for their deception. Looking at her brother, her sister saw a calm expression on his face. Xingling realizes that her gorgeous brother immediately realized that there was something wrong with these people, which was why he didn't help them. She saw again that her brother was absolutely calm in such a situation, which meant that he had foreseen everything. The man in the bandana walked over and grabbed Xingling by the chin. He was delighted, as the girl was much better than the woman they had massacred earlier. He asks the girl not to be afraid, as they only want to have fun with the girl, so they will not kill her. Besides, they are going to sell the girl and get a huge reward. His accomplice decides that the girl's brother will not be as lucky as the girl, and they will kill him. Meanwhile, the Demon King was incredibly happy. He could not even hide his silly smile. Even the marauders noticed it. They didn't understand why the girl's brother was smiling. The Demon King even had tears in his eyes from such happy news. He thought that he had chosen the wrong nest, and that here he would not be able to kill his sister. However, suddenly there were people who would do it all for him. He could no longer contain himself and told the marauders to hurry up and finish off his sister. Even the marauders were stunned by what they heard. They didn't know if they had heard the guy's words correctly. The Demon King did not hide his desires and told the marauders to kill his sister immediately. He even gave them all the information about the sister. The sister is just an unawakened girl who needed half a day to kill a few low-ranked demons, and that she's trash like not to look at it. He even notes that the marauders only need to snap their fingers, and it would be done. so he didn't understand why the marauders were slow. The man with the shaved head thought that guy is definitely in trouble with his head. The Demon King did not stop laughing sinisterly. The man with the shaved head thought that there was something wrong with this situation, since he originally thought it was brother and sister. His accomplice had figured it out. He thought that the girl's brother had deliberately encouraged them to attack the girl, and while they would be busy with the sister, the brother had prepared some crowning trick. They couldn't help but think about it, because it looked like the brother was expecting his abilities' cooldown to run out soon, and that he needed some time to finish off the two marauders afterward. The man with the shaved head realized that they almost fell for the guy's ploy. His sidekick also decides that the guy shouldn't be given a chance to attack either. Even the sister thinks that the brother is intentionally scattering the attention of the marauders. She realizes her brother's intentions and decides that she should play along with the situation. She commands that the marauders attack her, and those can't just ignore it. The marauders decided to do as the brother and sister asked them to do. However, they still decided to follow their plan and attack the guy. The sister is shocked. She just found her brother, who many people thought was already dead, and then some marauders decided to massacre him just like that. The guy flew pretty far from the attack. The man with the shaved head was delighted. He ingeniously outplayed the naive kids who thought he was an idiot. After that, the marauders decided to finish the job with the girl's brother, because they are so brilliant and they can't be fooled. The man in the bandana was already licking his eyes at the girl and anticipating how he could have a nice time. All this made the girl incredibly angry. Tears even appeared in her eyes. As if sensing her death, she remembered all the events she had experienced with her brother, how her brother had been kind to her and protected her always. She had only recently found him and he was alive. She couldn't lose her brother again to some marauders. Suddenly, it was as if some kind of energy began to spark around the girl. She managed to free herself from her restraints and attacked the men with an inexpressible fury, attacking them with a beam of energy released from her left hand. The marauders were able to dodge this attack with great difficulty. The girl's entire body was sparking, even the girl's hair rose upwards. There was a frightening energy emanating from her that shook everything around her. At the same moment, the system reported a new awakened was detected. Xing Ling was able to awaken. Her class, Red Nucleus Knight. The bandana-clad man sitting on the ground was greatly surprised, as the girl was considered trash. However, contrary to their calculations, a real monster was approaching them. The marauders immediately noticed that the girl had at least a red level. She was ready to destroy those who had harmed her brother. The marauders stood up and started attacking the girl with everything they had. Xing Ling lunged towards the men in a rage, ready to tear them apart. Xing Ling only needed one bare-handed strike on each of them, and the marauders were already lying on the ground. The marauders realized that there was nothing they could do to the girl, so they decided that they needed to run away immediately to avoid dying in this place. The marauders rushed to run with all their legs from the nest so that they wouldn't stay in this dungeon forever. Xing Ling was not going to let the marauders go so easily and abruptly turned her head in their direction. The girl then set off in pursuit of the frightened fleeing men, leaving her brother alone. The Demon King had been restrained by the paralyzing barrier ability the entire time. The ability engages electricity, creating a protective area within a certain range. The current range limit is 3 meters. Getting up from the ground and holding his hand to his head, the guy complained that the marauders were just lowlifes who thought they were the smartest. He didn't understand why the men would want to paralyze him so suddenly. Shaking off his clothes, he continued to complain as the idiots had ruined everything. Thanks to the incompetence of the marauders, the girl not only survived but was able to awaken. Suddenly, however, the guy tensed up. He thought he smelled some familiar odor. He thought it was strange since this lair was of the lowest possible D rank. Meanwhile, the marauders stopped and tried to catch their breath. The man with the shaved head was trying to figure out if they had managed to escape. They barely managed to save their lives. The man in the bandana also doesn't realize who those brother and sister really are. The man realizes that in order to overpower the girl, they have to come up with some cunning plan. At that very moment, an unknown person had already crept up behind the marauders. The man with the shaved head asks his sidekick if he has any paralyzing toxin left. As soon as he asks for his sidekick to get whatever he has, he suddenly gets a light shove in the back with a claw. This displeased him greatly, And with all his displeasure, he turns around and wonders which creep did it. In front of the bandits appeared a demon of huge size, which was already impatient to eat the violators of his peace. The men screamed as if it was the last scream of their lives. They began to call for help, as they did not understand why there was an A-rank demon in such a place. Just at the same time, Xing Ling arrived at the scene of the incident. The demon finds the girl very interesting. He had been wondering what had awakened him, and now he could find the answer to his question. In his right hand, the demon held 2 brigands. The demon was even a little disappointed, as the reason for his awakening was the petite girl who was not able to control her power. Xing Ling was still in a rage, and she thought that everyone should die. She rushed towards the demon, trying to attack it. The demon was amused by such an act, as he thought that the girl was overestimating her strength. He didn't understand how a pathetic person decided to challenge him. While he was saying that, Xing Ling passed through him and punched a hole in him. The demon fell to the ground and bitterly noted that he had underestimated the human. Xing Ling immediately shifted her gaze to the marauders and was about to kill them already, but she noticed a shadow in the distance. She spotted her brother, as well as the weapon he had picked up in the demon nest. She happily rushed running towards her brother. Her sister was glad that her brother was unharmed. She wanted to learn more from her brother, but her strength began to fail her. She took one more step and began to fall to the ground, and her brother just watched silently as she fell. Seeing that the girl was unconscious, the marauders were glad that heaven was on their side. Since the girl turned out to be a red awakening, they would surely pay a lot more for her. All they had to do was deal with her worthless brother. They immediately attacked the guy from afar, hoping to take his life. However, this time, the guy blocked all of their attacks with one hand. He didn't understand how the marauders hoped to defeat him twice with such a third-rate trick. The men were surprised to realize that the guy was also hiding his strength. They were upset that they had angered the heavens. The Demon King was not in a very good mood. He called the marauders scum. He could still understand the fact that they couldn't kill the girl, but what annoyed him the most was that the marauders had forced his sister to awaken. At the same time, the demon behind them let out a thunderous scream and stood up. The man with the shaved head was shocked that the demon was still alive. The demon once again grabbed the 2 marauders with his right hand. The marauders begged the guy to save them. They were even ready to give the guy all the money and everything they had managed to collect up to that time. The Demon King ordered the demon to let the marauders go. The demon was puzzled after this request, though more like an order. He immediately released the men from his hand, who fell to the floor of the cave. The man in the bandana was surprised that the guy in front of them was able to talk to the demon. They started thanking the guy for saving them. They also promised that as soon as they got out of the cave, they would give him all their money. The Demon King did not just release them, he informs the demon that the men have angered him. Not understanding the demon's language, they were already making plans for the future. In the same instant, with one light swing of his blade, the guy dealt with the pesky flies. He informs the demon that he wanted to deal with them himself. The demon perplexedly asks the guy who he is and why he can talk to him. The Demon King was glad to have a powerful demon with the rank of a duke in this cave. He figured that when the demon heard him and followed his words, the demon should have realized something by now. The demon was not too scared. After all, in front of him was only a human. However, the demon did not understand how such a terrifying aura could come from a human. The aura of the Demon King was coming from the man. Through his actions, the Demon King himself had caused his nemesis to awaken. Would he soon return to his Demon King cycle and find out that he taught his sister everything, and that's why she so easily destroyed him in the form of the Demon King time after time? Looking at the guy, the demon didn't understand why he felt that an ordinary person gave off such a frightening aura of the Demon King. Suddenly, the demon laughed. He came to the conclusion that the guy had most likely stolen part of the magic crystal, and that was why the guy was emitting the Demon King's aura. The demon considered it incredible luck that the guy appeared in front of him. After all, among the demon race, only the most gifted demons can create magic crystals. Only by killing and devouring other demons could the demon improve the magic crystal. To create a Demon King rank magic crystal, it was necessary to defeat countless dukes, princes, and tens of thousands of tribal armies. The owner of the magic crystal was a supreme being who united the demon race. Demon called the guy a pathetic person. He found the very fact that a pathetic man dared to seize the Demon King's magic crystal disgusting. The demon began to mock the guy, calling him an idiot. The demon explained to the guy that if he tried to imitate the despicable sons of God and took possession of the magic crystal, the guy should be prepared for his body to undergo decomposition to a rotten state. Xing Yi pondered over the demon's words. He couldn't understand what value magic crystals could be to humans. The demon kindly explained to the perplexed guy that magic crystals were the source of all demons. After the demon activates the magic crystal, then it can not only get magic power, but also get a powerful skill. The foolish humans thought that the magic crystal would be useful to them and insisted on taking the magic crystal with them and sharing it amongst themselves. The humans euphemistically called it the seal of suppression, but in reality, they just craved for the power contained in the magic crystal. However, it turned out to be true, and there were a few powerful and despicable people before. They killed the Demon King and seized the magic crystal, gaining terrifying power. Now people began to call them the Sons of God. However, the Sons of God did not know that using the magic crystal required a very powerful soul power. Countless mediocre people tried in vain to control the magic crystal and instead received a response from the magic power. Their entire body began to rot, and the magic crystal killed them. The demon thought that such a pathetic guy who stood in front of him was unworthy of possessing the Demon King's magic crystal. Looking at the guy in front of him, the demon told him to immediately return the magic crystal, as the magic crystal belonged to the demon race. The guy with the Demon King's soul only now began to realize that humans could steal magic crystals and use them to gain more power. The information he received from the demon made the guy ponder his decision. Previously, when he was the Demon King, he could only improve his magic crystal through endless slaughter and subjugation. However, right now, another plan had matured in his mind. Emitting a frightening aura, Xing Yi began to realize that now, with a human body, he could directly draw power from the demon magic crystals. In his mind, he laughed as he had a brilliant new scenario ripe in his mind. He was going to take the demon's magic crystals at a monstrous speed, and then overthrow the Sons of God, and after that, become the new king with his new human name, Xing Yi. Xing Yi couldn't hide his emotions and broke out into monstrous laughter as he anticipated his plan. The demon sincerely couldn't understand what the pathetic human who didn't even know the vastness of heaven and earth was laughing at. The demon even thought that the guy had just gone crazy from the corrosion of the magic crystal. Xing Yi was laughing the entire time and didn't even listen to what the demon was saying. The demon was surprised at how stupid the person in front of him was. However, he decided not to waste time talking to the guy and just take the magic crystal from the guy. The demon activated the Demon Eye skill and used the magic crystal search. Xing Yi did not stop laughing hysterically from his brilliance the entire time. The demon used his skill to discover that there was no magic crystal inside the guy's body. The information obtained was incredibly shocking to the demon. However, still laughing, the guy was thrilled that he still had the Demon King's soul. The demon couldn't believe the words the guy had just said. He had never heard of humans possessing such a skill. He even speculated that the guy might have devoured the Demon King. Another possibility was that the Demon King had taken over the guy's body. The awakening system informed the guy that insufficient magic power had been detected and that the host body and soul were not compatible. Therefore, the system asked the guy to control his mental state. The current body and soul compatibility was 0.8%. After looking at the system's message, Xing Yi found it strange. He was surprised that he didn't have enough magic power. He is a demon king, and yet he might not be able to subdue a human body. The guy thought the information he received from the system was complete nonsense. However, he accepted this information rather quickly, immediately deciding that he would need to increase his magic power first. The demon asked the guy fearfully what he was trying to do, and then he felt the guy's intimidating stare on him. Xing Yi only laughed, and then informed the demon that the demon would soon die from severe injuries, so he wanted the demon to be his target for training. The overjoyed Xing Yi also stated that the demon in front of him must have a magic crystal. The demon's legs went under from fright and he fell to the floor of the cave and then screamed, calling out for someone to help him. The guy instantly approached the demon and then began to absorb the demon. He believed that although the body and soul compatibility was 0.8%, it should be more than enough to absorb the dying demon's magic power. The demon wailed in fear. He begged his lord to let him live. From his last strength, he pleaded with the demon king that he would be of use to him. Only now did the demon notice how stupid he had been all this time. He noticed that the guy was using the all-devouring power that only demon kings possessed. The demon realized that the lord in front of him possessed unfathomable power. However, Xing Yi told the demon to shut up, as he did not want to listen to his speech. In a pathetic attempt to save himself, the demon stated that if the lord let him live, he would become the lord's contract servant. The demon understood that if you can't defeat someone, you should join them. Suddenly, Xing Yi thought about the demon's words and stopped attacking him. Kneeling down, the demon tried to catch its breath from the lord's frightening attack. Seizing the opportunity, the demon immediately decided to show its usefulness to Lord. He claimed that he was an expert in creating multiple dimensions and that he had managed to accumulate many good materials over the years. The demon believed that the guy was unlikely to try to settle previous grudges. Although demon had actually appropriated some materials from a demon king in the first generation. The demon said that when they signed the contract, he would transfer all his wealth to the lord, and that the lord could use all his measurements anytime he wanted, especially when he wanted to revive the demon race. Xing Yi, seeing the dimensions with food, gold, and weapons, pondered over the demon's words. The guy was even happy when he realized what riches were contained in the demon's dimensions. The demon couldn't hold back his tears since he had so painstakingly saved up all his belongings. And now he had to give all his belongings to the demon king in order to survive. Xing Yi was angry at this moment since he used to have to work so hard to earn resources in order to feed an entire army. Even though he was the demon king, he didn't even have good food back then. Now he knew that it turns out all the resources had been stolen by the aristocratic demons, and that was why he was poor. Suddenly, the guy received a system alert that the system had detected that the host had absorbed a huge amount of demonic energy, so the compatibility of souls had increased to 1%. In addition, Dragon Mode, presumably a skill of the enemy forces, had been unlocked. The system asked the guy if he wanted to continue using such a skill. The guy was a little surprised to hear the information from the system. After all, Dragon Mode was one of his skills when he was the Demon King. Xing Yi wondered how Dragon Mode originated in the human system. Looking at the number 1, he began to better realize that perhaps it was the 1% compatibility between the soul and the human body that had something to do with obtaining the Dragon Mode skill. Xing Yi was incredibly happy that he couldn't even hide his smile. He needed to find the right method, and then he would be able to possess the skills of both demons and humans. Clicking the yes option in the system, the guy realized that such an opportunity couldn't be given to all demon kings, so he felt like a Goldfinger. Goldfinger, in the context of gaming or online culture, it refers to a cheat code, exploit, or advantage that a player may possess. The system stated that since the host had chosen to load Dragon Mode, the system started reloading skills. The system very quickly reported that the skill download was complete. The guy had learned new skills. He received Paralysis Shield, Lightning Shock, Unstable Electric Ball. Dragon Mode First State, Skill H4, Myriad Demonic Dragons was locked. Dragon Mode Skills 5 and 6 were also blocked. Xing Yi was incredibly happy as his skills had returned. He was elated and felt like he had been chosen by the heavens. The demon watched the incredibly cheerful guy, wondering if the Lord still wanted him to be here and see him doing this. Suddenly, the guy looked at the demon with gusto. He realized that it seemed like his abilities had only started to return because he had started absorbing the demonic energy of the demon that was now beside him. The demon's legs immediately went under and he fell to the floor of the cave. He was very scared that the Lord would start absorbing it again. Xing Yi instantly moved towards the demon that the demon didn't have time to react in any way. He inquired of the demon that did a demon with such powers want to be his servant. The guy was still thinking that the demon's magic crystal was more to his liking than the demon becoming his servant. The demon was quick to respond, stating that he had other things in mind. He pitifully begged the Lord to pay attention to his skills, which the Lord shouldn't miss. The demon began to dissuade the guy from absorbing him. When the first-generation Demon King descended to Earth, hundreds of millions of demon armies followed him, fighting for him. Therefore, the demon believed that every demon should possess a powerful weapon that his clan had forged. The demon even boasted that he was the last descendant of a noble family to possess the skill of blacksmithing. Will the demon be able to convince the former Demon King to let him live with his sweet talk? And that's all for today. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you would like to see a sequel, please like, subscribe to the channel, and leave your wishes in the comments. You can also subscribe to Telegram to know about new videos. Bye everybody.